I want to greet everyone. This is a music school, right?
Thank you, Vladimir Vladimirovich, for coming to us today. This is the Secondary Specialized Music School of the Sirius Center. Its students and those who study in our specialized programs are here. They were all preparing, waiting for you, and they all want to talk to you.
Sergey Pavlovich, this is exactly what you wanted, right? We haven't even started showing you what we wanted. This is the very beginning. Let's listen to those who will study here, and those who have already looked at this center and felt what it is like.
If possible, the school children have prepared some questions.
Please.
Mikhail Pyrozenko wanted to start.
Please. Hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich. My name is Mikhail Pyrozenko. I am 15 years old. I came from St. Petersburg. Me too. I am a pianist, as is my whole family. I learned about the Sirius Center from my older brother. I have already been here twice. I really want to go here for the third time this year. I have always really liked the fact that I can communicate not only with musicians like me, but also with students from other areas. I am very interested in why exactly these three areas exist in the Sirius Center: sports, science, and art. And how did the idea of creating the Sirius Center come about? Maybe something inspired you? Maybe you were inspired by some places that were similar to this. No, everything was more prosaic. When the Olympic Games in Sochi ended, the question arose of what to do. Please sit down. The question arose, what to do with these structures, and how to use all this. There were many different proposals, and finally, the idea came to me that back in the Soviet Union, and then in Russia, traditionally, special attention was paid to certain areas of training young specialists, and schools for training specialists were created, starting at a fairly young age. These are specialized physics and mathematics schools, chemistry schools. Then we had biological schools, that is, specialized educational institutions. That's where it all started. The idea arose to gather children from all over the country here for a certain period of time. Then we decided that it would be 20 days or so.
24.
Yes, to gather children from all over the country. Then I thought, why only natural sciences? We have specialized music schools at conservatories. We have several world-class schools. Maybe even not only world-class, but above world-class, choreographic schools that train ballet dancers. And we immediately expanded, from the very first steps, the direction of the Sirius Center's activities. That's how it came about, somehow by itself. I already talked about how the name of this center came to me. I asked my assistants to name the brightest star in the sky. They told me it was Sirius. Well, since gifted young people, gifted children, teenagers should come here. That's how the name of this center came about, Sirius. What you see here, what I'm going to look at now, is a derivative of the original ideas. This is already the development of Sirius itself, the creation of the school, and next to it a concert hall. I hope that all this meets the best world standards, and in some ways even surpasses them. This was the idea of the Olympic legacy, so that it would serve our country, serve people in the best possible way. In general, I believe that this goal has been achieved. We just need to move on and develop the Sirius Center. The creation of such a music school, where we are now, is a move in this direction. I hope that everything will work out for you here. You will like it. It will help to reveal your talent. This is a good place. The teachers here are wonderful. I hope that the sound here is excellent. Toyota also worked on this, because the sound in such rooms is very important. It's like a musical instrument, as Sergey Pavlovich says all the time, right? Sergey Pavlovich always tells me, what can be said here? That is so important in this matter. The sound in the hall is also like a musical instrument. It should correspond to what is happening here. I hope that it will be like that here, just like in the concert hall. We will go there and have a look, right? Or not?
Not this time, but it is almost ready. Almost ready. We and the children are already officially inviting you to its opening in October. We are very happy.
It is beautiful on the outside, and I really hope that everything inside will correspond to the goals and objectives that we set for ourselves.
Well, if possible, our musicians will go ahead, given that this is a music school. Although there are children from all directions here. Children, musicians, please. Who else would like to ask a question?
For God's sake, please.
Hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich. My name is Daria Malikova. I am 16 years old, and I came from Arkhangelsk. This is my second time at Sirius in the musical and performing arts program. Since childhood, I have been immersed in the world of creativity, and music surrounded me everywhere. And when I was 3 years old, I already went to a music school, and at 6 I went to an art school. Now I continue to develop in this direction, and, of course, Sirius helps me a lot. I would like to ask you, because I know that since childhood you have been studying piano and mastering this instrument. Please tell me, do you manage to play this instrument if you have such an opportunity? What role do you pay to music in your everyday life, despite such a busy work schedule? And do you think that music is really important? And how did it influence the formation of your personality?
Well, first of all, unfortunately, I have never played the piano, and I regret it, because it certainly enriches music, just like painting. If it is a part of our life from childhood, then it forms a person. It forms a personality. It forms a worldview, an attitude towards the world around us and towards oneself. After all, music is harmony. And harmony is what? Being present in a person makes him happy in the end. Therefore, of course, you know, I lived in a very simple family. It was far from music, from art. It was a working family. But somehow it happened that somewhere in the senior classes of school I began to visit concert halls, the Philharmonic in St. Petersburg. Fortunately, there is a place to go to listen to good music. And then gradually, more and more often, I began to go there. After all, this is also an art, to feel music, to understand it, to somehow tune into this wave. This is an unconscious thing. It is not so rational. And maybe it is not rational at all. But the ability to enjoy what you see and hear from painting or from music, it should also be nurtured. And I did not have the same upbringing as you, music school, and so on. But St. Petersburg gave me such an opportunity, and, thank God, I took advantage of it. So I did it gradually. Then we became friends with Sergei Pavlovich. He began inviting me to various events, concerts, and so on. And then I attended them without him. And I think that the feeling of music, or the feeling of ballet, the feeling of painting, it gradually nurtured in me what, of course, I always needed in life. It supported me. It formed my attitude to certain events, to certain people. And I believe that this is very important as an element of the education of any person. And we will support it in every possible way, just as we do it here and now.
Thank you for your answer. Hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich. My name is Anna Tsukhanova. I am 17 years old, and I came from the city of Barnaul. I am studying in the musical and performing arts program. I have been playing the piano for 12 years now, and I strive to become a professional musician. I understand that this requires a lot of work and improvement, and Sirius helps me a lot with this. This is my 4th time here, and each time it gives me a powerful impetus for professional growth. It gives me energy and inspiration. But I also understand that a musician needs not only professional skills, but also personal qualities. And one of these qualities is probably leadership, to lead an orchestra, to play in an ensemble, and so on. You, as the president, are the person with the most developed leadership qualities for me. I would like to ask you, are there any ways to develop them? Do you think that leadership is given to us from birth? Or can leadership be acquired through upbringing and experience? And did you specifically develop these qualities in yourself? Or have they always been with you? Thank you.
It's hard to say whether it's an innate quality or not. Geneticists should determine that. But probably. Of course. Talent is largely inherited. But there are things when even if there is an innate talent, then without effort, without putting in the effort, it is unlikely that there will be an opportunity to show oneself as brightly as, say, Mozart did. It is known what happened in his family, right? He was practically tortured by these lessons. But there are many other examples of this kind. When a child fainted, moreover, his mother thought that he had died. And then he came to his senses and continued his music lessons. This incredible diligence, of course, accompanies success, including for very gifted or even brilliant people. Therefore, it is difficult to say what is more important here, diligence, working on yourself, or innate qualities. For the maximum result, for the maximum effect, you probably need a combination of all this. Of course, you need to work on this. How else? Success will not just fall out of the sky by itself.
Hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich.
Hello.
I am a 6th grader at the Sirius Secondary Special Music School. My name is Vera Chichelenko. I am 13 years old. As a child, I loved flying on airplanes and wanted to be a flight attendant. But then sport appeared in my life, and I dreamed of becoming a master of sports in rhythmic gymnastics. At the age of 7, I entered a music school to study cello, and my dream now is to become a professional musician. What did you dream about as a child, when you were 5, 10, 15 years old? And what do you dream about now?
When I was 5 and 10 years old, what was my hobby? And what did I dream about? Now I don't want to invent anything. Now it's hard for me to remember what happened at the age of 5. I remember vaguely, but, oddly enough, I remember certain things. What did I dream about? After all, everything depends on the environment. Everything depends on our level of development, perception of the world around us, on the people who surround you. Everything comes from there. And from art, by the way, also from music. Images arise from the opportunity to visit museums. Some goals arise. Preferences are formed. The more positive external influence we have, the brighter and more concrete our plans and dreams become. I probably had my own dreams too. But when I grew up, when I was already choosing a profession, everything worked out differently. I have already spoken about this many times. Boys often choose what to be. I wanted to be a pilot, then a sailor. I chose such heroic professions. But gradually I was formed as a person, as a human being. Of course, I was very attracted to the way people act, how people live, who dedicate their lives to their country. That is, where the desire to work in foreign intelligence agencies arose. And then everything went further and further, and this led to what I am doing today. I would very much like for you and your peers to have the same life, so that you ultimately choose the business to which you are ready to dedicate your life. Then life will be interesting, and you will achieve maximum results in the business to which you will dedicate this life. Hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich. My name is Brigadz Petr. I am 12 years old. I am a musician, and I play the flute. I study at this secondary special music school. I moved here last year, and now I live separately from my parents. Of course, I miss them and communicate with them every day. And what did family mean to you during your school years? Maybe there are episodes from your childhood connected with your parents that you remember all your life? Maybe you can tell me, if it's not a secret. Well, I've already talked about this many times, to be honest. I don't want to repeat myself. But, of course, there were episodes that are still so vividly present in my mind. This was when I was about your age, and a little older. And, you know, what's most important, and what was curious for me, and what, apparently, influenced my character, the formation of me as a person. My parents always, when deciding some issues of family life, when deciding some issues connected with my future, I want to emphasize this. They always made a choice in my favor. And this is firmly in my mind. This is such gratitude to my parents for the fact that they treated me like that, with such love. This is where love is shown, and not just in kisses and hugs. Although this is also important, this also matters. But in general, you know, even when I was making a decision about where to study, which university to choose, and so on, my parents wanted only one thing. Because it was easier. I mean, I was involved in sports. And some higher education institutions were ready to accept me practically without exams. And my coach kind of pushed the family towards this, with the best intentions. And it was easier. But I made my choice, which seemed quite difficult at that time. And when my parents saw that this was my choice, I still remember this. They treated it with great respect. And in the end, they did not interfere with me. On the contrary, they supported me. And this is how it was always, on all issues. They always made a choice in my favor. I will never forget this. And I will always be grateful to them for this.
Good evening, Vladimir Vladimirovich. My name is Kuzbakova Asel. I am 12 years old. I am a 6th grade student at this secondary special music school. I play the violin. My most cherished wish is to learn to play the violin like my favorite violinist Pavel Milyakov. If you caught a magic goldfish, what wish would you make?
Based on environmental considerations, I would simply release the fish into the wild. And I would not bother it with fulfilling my wishes. I would try to formulate my own goals and achieve them.
Thank you.
Hello, Vladimir Vladimirovich. My name is Sakharov Daniil. I came from the city of Ekaterinburg. I am 17 years old. In my hometown, I am finishing my second year at the Sverdlovsk College. Since childhood, I have been attracted to nature and everything that it creates in this world. And in the future, I would like to become an artist who would show people their true, real principle, which cannot be taken away from each person at birth. I believe that this could improve the life and worldview of future generations. For me, as for all future artists, it is important that their work resonates in the soul of the viewer and carries an idea that could help improve the life and worldview of future generations. And I have a question for you, Vladimir Vladimirovich. In your opinion, what values should modern artists convey? What qualities should a modern artist have in order for society to hear him? Thank you. There is only one biblical value. The most important thing is love. Love for what you do. Love for the world around you. For the people who surround you. Well, I don't know. You know better. You are a future professional artist, as far as I understand. So you should already feel what drives you, what you want to convey to your viewers. This is extremely important, as I understand it. It is necessary and important not only to draw something beautifully, but also to convey to people your opinion about, how you feel about, what you draw, nature, man, well, anything. After all, by the way, photography is also creativity, but nevertheless, it displays something on paper, a real object. And the artist still wants to convey his vision, first of all, to the viewer, to another person. Here, it is not even the object that is depicted. That is important. But the attitude of the person who depicts this object or nature, even a still life. This also reflects the artist's attitude to what he does. The artist himself is important, his attitude to the world. This, it seems to me, is the essence, and it is not easy to do, as I understand. It is important to have talent in order to draw, but it is even more important to be able to convey. To be able to convey to the viewer your attitude to what you draw. This is the most important, this is the most difficult, but it is the most precious.